Even the hadith. Even the hadith.
Uncle, do you mind if I film?
That's all right. I don't stay till we get dark. Yeah. What I'm saying is, yeah. You ready? No, my point I was trying to make is this.
Content over everything.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you, sir? You all right? Everything okay? Yeah. Tell me when you're ready, because I won't be long. Our people, Muslims, I'm talking about resurgent Islam in the Americas, from North America through to the Caribbean, especially in Trinidad, and this is something people need to know. We have always been in the vanguard of political change. Today, what's happening in black liberation movements, there's an attempt to make us irrelevant. Now, there are reasons for that. And in any discussion I'm going to have here, we're going to discuss from the position of truth. I'm not going to give you a Muslim position, a black nationalist position, a vegan position, a feminist position, arguing a single-stranded position with no room for question. My position as both a pan-Africanist and a Muslim is I am being told by certain sectors of the Afro-Centric movement that Muslims are no longer relevant. When we, in fact, were in the vanguard of change. I'm not a Muslim from 1990. I go back to the 70s, late 60s, 70s. We are in the tradition of Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Karim Abdel-Jabbar, Idris Muhammad, Muhammad Ali Clay. We go back to those traditions. So we're talking about Islam, which had relevance to reforming the communities we come from, where there was a preponderance of alcoholism, drug abuse, gang violence, single parenthood, families which were dysfunctional. We were in the vanguard of reforming these communities. What happened is after a while, we got sucked in to movements, Muslim movements, that diverted our attention from our main focus. Our main focus is to save yourself and your family from the fire of hell. And we subordinated our community's needs. We subordinated our community's problems to solving macro problems. We suddenly became interested in the Palestine issue, which deserves our attention, but it cannot deserve our primary attention given who we are and where we're coming from. We subordinated our concerns to what was happening in the 80s in Afghanistan. I even know personally friends of mine who went to Peshawar. Peshawar was called the Woodstock for the Muslims. Everybody was meeting in Peshawar. So we, Muslims of the Americas, African American Muslims, subordinate. What is he doing? What's this kid doing? Okay. I'm doing something else for now. Let me do something else. So, brother, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Let's. This is what's about the rabbit hole. Yeah, we get sidetracked. So we subordinated our concerns to those of other communities. So there is an understanding from the black community, which is predominantly Christian. If you read the Voice newspaper, from the old days, there was always a page called Soul Stirrings, and they always dealt, whenever they're talking about culture in the British black community, they talk about choirs, Pentecostalism, choirs in the church, the development. They would never make Islam relevant. And that was partly our problem too. We needed to remind ourselves of our relevance to our community. And that's my message to what I call CCC, the Caribbean Convert Community. I don't call them reverts. To me, a revert is a Muslim who hasn't been practicing Islam like a Moroccan or an Iraqi and suddenly caught religion later on in life. He's a revert. We are converts. That's what we are. And as converts, we have particular issues that need addressing that they haven't time for. They're either unwilling or unable to handle our problems because they've got problems of their own. They came from their countries with their own issues as yet unresolved. I understand that. But it is not now for me to go and make the Taliban problem my primary concern. It is not now for me to go to deal with the Iraqi issue and make it my primary concern. I, without apology, will make Libya my primary concern because it is on the continent of Africa where I come from, where this Libya being the 5th largest oil producer in the world has been intentionally destroyed. And that has its reverberations in Mali because of the weapons, in the Republic du Niger, as the brother rightly said, and in northern Chad. Right now, there are problems there that are reverberating from the desert into the Sahel, from the Sahel into the forest region of West Africa. Even Boko Haram has some of its reverberation that comes out of that in terms of the ready access to weaponry. And in Central African Republic, there is there's an extension and attenuation of that problem. So that is my problem. Other people who are Muslims and have other problems in their parts of the world, like the Xinjiang province in China, that ought to be there. If Turkey is worried about that, I endorse Turkey making that an issue because those people are Turkic peoples. They are related geographically and culturally. There's a bridge from Turkey to eastern Turkestan or Xinjiang province in China, which makes them one people, the Turkic peoples, the Turanian peoples. I understand that. That is of concern to me as a global human being and a Muslim. But I have primary concerns which involve my family. And what I'm trying to say now, I've said now to the Muslims, I've made up my point now is to turn to the pan-Africanists, the Afro-Centrists, my other family, and say to them, I understand your concerns as to why you think we're not relevant. But we are the ones who kick-started consciousness in the Western world. And there are many of us who are still in that tradition, and we will not allow you to forget that, and we do not demand our inclusion because we are at the back. We are the army. The first army, the first casualties of the black nationalist struggle in the West were the Muslims. And many of us from those days, we're still here. And therefore, we demand that we come to an understanding. We come to an understanding with the rest of the worldwide African family as to what our position is. Because the truth is, we are not going anywhere. It is foolish, it is fantastical to assume that as Afrocentricity and pan-Africanism rises in the world, Islam will wane. It will not happen. Neither will Christianity. So we have to find ways in Africa of living with our Christians and living with our Muslims. We have to find a way of working together because they're not going anywhere. Ethiopian Christians aren't going anywhere. Eritrean Christians aren't going anywhere. They're indigenous Christians in that part of the world. So we now have to work out a dialectic amongst ourselves. And nobody has the right to say, I am a chematologist. I prioritize the primacy, the historical primacy of ancient Egypt, and all of your people, you're not fully on board until you embrace the Kemetic philosophy. If you say that, what you're talking, how you're addressing the people who practice Ifa or Risha of Nigeria, the people who practice Vodou of Dahomey or Haiti, how you're addressing them. What they have their own philosophy too. Now, if you include them, and you should include them, but you're excluding Muslims in Africa who have known no other religion like the Kanuri of Kanem Borno, like the Hausa. What if you're dealing? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So if you're disqualifying Muslims from that liberation struggle, you're moving forward with only half your body. That is my message to the Pan-African family. If you try to make Islam irrelevant in Africa, you're going to be fighting with only one half of your body. I think I'll leave it at that because I don't think anybody has any questions. Anybody has any questions here that are relevant to this issue? Like I said, let me just end by where I started. I have concerns that there is a sentiment abroad in the Pan-African or the Afro-Centrist community to sideline Islam whenever a discussion about who belong in the black family comes up. I'm saying that we were the ones who started this. From Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, we were always there from the beginning, and many of us in that tradition are still here, and our presence should not be unwelcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm out, my brother. I went on a little longer than I wanted to. Let me go pray. Yeah. You know what makes sense? You know how to put a title on that? What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to review it back from memory. Pan-African.
The relationship between Afro-Centrists and Muslims. Yeah.
But how can that work? I'm a bit late into the conversation.
I got to go pray. You got to ask him. I really got to go now.
Yeah.
I got to go. We'll talk another time. Gentlemen, peace out.
Come take over everything from your government.
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to Sky TV. I just listen to COE. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
I smoked the dollar like Saddam Hussein said. Stop buying petrol with the dollar. Gaddafi said the gold dealer. I'm saying you fucking shawarma, pork, I don't give a fuck. Big sock, look sharp. Man, come on.
Tell them more. We're done talk. Tell them more. Come on, man. Tell them more.